Hey there, Cheese Meisters, and welcome back to the Peach Pod. That would have been Switch It Up again, 2 more times. It was playing, Donna played it on the radio, and then Steve played it on the jukebox. This song is in heavy rotation. It's not getting played in Surge's studio, though. Motherfucker Surge. But it could have also been Jimmy Olsen's Blues by the Spin Doctors. That was playing when David was running late and like running into the building before Donna put Switch It Up on. Are you familiar with Jimmy Olsen's Blues?
The only Jimmy Olsen I know is the one who works at the he works with Clark Kent.
At the Daily. Oh, that's what it's about.
Oh, okay.
That is the Jimmy Olsen referenced. So do you know the Spin Doctors, right? Two Princes and Little Miss Can't Be Wrong. Okay. So they're those two songs are really, really big, but they were on an album called Pocket Full of Kryptonite. See, Superman reference.
Got it.
And one of the songs on that album they also released it as a single, I'm pretty sure. It was called Jimmy Olsen's Blues. It's really good. I think it's the best song on that album, and that album is pretty solid.
Wow.
Two Princes is a little repetitive for me, but the lead singer of Spin Doctors, Chris Barron, I think his name is. I made some joke about Little Miss Can't Be, or about Two Princes being repetitive, rhyming now with now, which I think is funny. And he responded to it, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't mean to insult your shit, man. Sorry. I was just making a joke." And he was like, "No, it's fine." You know, like he was really cool about it. So he was a nice Twitter follow, except for this dude loves cats. Like fucking loves cats.
Aww.
Every Saturday is Catterday with this dude, and it's just pictures of cats. It was too much cats for me.
No.
I don't know. There's a limit for me for cats, and
then it's a good thing you're not running the Peach Pod on Blue Sky, because I am definitely following Bodega Cats on there.
Perfect. Well, there you go.
I'm keeping it light.
I like it. You avoid all the drama.
Gladly.
Anyhow, I'm Jeff, and let's get out of here. Go shoot some pool. And joining me on the other end of the internet is my host.
I'm Leslie, and I'm sorry. I'm going through a lot right now.
Everybody's going through a lot right now, Kel. And Dill. And David. And Brandon. And Jeff, after he got involved with Brandon. There's a lot going on.
I know. Is that the second time we've had a Jeff character on here?
Who was our first one?
I can't remember, but I feel like, you know what? It's just, I'm now at the point where anytime a character named Jeff, I'm like, motherfucker, he's got all the characters named after him.
That's right. All of them. This twerp and other ones. This week, Cheese Meisters, we are talking about Season 3, Episode 23, Duke's Bad Boy. Original air date, March 3rd, 1993. So, did you throw up in your mouth or throw something? I'm sure the answer is yes.
Oh my god, I threw up in my mouth when Brandon was chewing gum again, and I was like, this fucker. Oh my god. And that's the second time around I went, oh, this is when he's up to no good. Like, this is when he's leaning into, like, I'm sick of being a good guy. I want to be a bad guy. And it's like, good news for you, Brandon. You kind of are.
You're kind of there, yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm not going to give him any credit this episode. You're being a piece of shit. You're being stupid.
Brandon is a problem in this episode. So wait, I have two thoughts. One, is that ASMR? Just chomping gum?
I'm dying.
I know, it's rough. So are you saying that chewing gum is as indicative of no goodness as shooting pool?
It might be.
And you don't know this yet, but when David wears a hat, it's not good. things happen, and you're going to see next season when David wears a hat. It's bad news. Just don't wear a hat, David. So don't.
I feel like gum is often used, it definitely in like older style. Like if you look at Grease or anything with like the
Mm-hmm.
popular girls from older movies, if they're chewing gum, it's like it's supposed to deem they have loose morals or something, or like they can't be bothered with the rules, which I feel like that's some bad rep for gum. I don't like gum, but like it's helpful for people, so why are we knocking gum? Why are we
I think
giving
it's
it
because I think most of the gum knocking it goes back to grade school and high school when
mm.
you were told not to chew gum because the custodian didn't want to clean it up off the bottom of the desk after you stuck it there, you heathen. Like that's what it is. Like gum gets a bad rap, and it's because the users of gum are a problem. It's not the gum itself.
Well, great news. The kids are vaping now. So,
Oh, good.
much easier. You don't have to do anything. You just have to like spray, like, you
Yeah,
know.
good. Keep vaping, kids. Edict.
He said it, not me.
That was a false edict. That was the edict of nah. That was a religious joke right there. The edict of nah instead of the edict of
Wow.
Nance or whatever. I'm fucking making Bible jokes.
That one went over my head because I haven't worked in a religious facility like you have. So,
Yeah, I wish I had that. Well, never mind. Um, yeah. Here, this is the joke I just made. The Edict of Nantes was a law signed by King Henry IV of France in 1598 that granted religious and civil rights to French Protestants. That was the smart joke I just made.
that's incredible. And
Uh,
now I know why I really don't get it because I've only seen Henry IV Part 1, so maybe if I've seen the rest, they'll cover that in there. Otherwise,
I don't know. They probably will. I learned about it at some point. This was one of those things that just you learn and it sticks for some reason. Like the name, it's just in there. You don't remember what it is exactly.
if
Um,
it's not in a religious musical, I don't know.
okay.
I was a bad Christian.
So you're like you know all about um uh I'm totally blanking on literally every song
Tested.
from Jesus Christ Superstar. Motherfucker. I
See,
had a
that's
good
the one.
chance to.
This is crazy. That's the one I know the least.
That's like the best one.
According to some, I personally love Godspell, but I do. But yeah, I know people love Jesus Christ Superstar.
My mind is clearer now. Yeah, no, Jesus Christ Superstar fucking rocks. Um,
Jesus.
you know who liked it? Your boy Lin Manuel.
I was about to say your mom because I know your mom loves that show.
Well, that's true. No, that's true. But like all of the King George stuff is Pontius Pilate inspired.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like all of those like jokey song intervals in Hamilton. That's all a reference to the Pontius Pilate stuff in Jesus Christ Superstar because that song's hilarious.
Yes.
So anyway, we're far afield from Duke's fucking bad boy.
Oh yeah, this show.
That's fine. This was a weird one this week. All right, so here's what happens in this episode. Let's see. So Dylan is going back to school. He's a little off, not feeling too great. Kelly says maybe pretend you're in Hawaii, and he looks at her like she's crazy. And because that's really stupid. And then then Brenda comes up and says, "Hey, why don't you both come over to my dinner or my house for dinner? Like nothing weird has happened in the last year, and we'll just do that." And Dylan's like, "Bet." And hey, Kel, and Kel's like, "Sure. Why would this be fucking weird for anybody? Let's just do this." And so they're gonna have dinner over there. Brandon owes Duke money, and Duke gave him one pass. And now there's a guy in a car waiting to kick his ass. Shouts to Rocky 1, which you haven't seen.
That was my favorite bit, saying, and this guy, Tony, he doesn't like anybody. And I thought,
like anybody.
Tony and I. friends.
You and Tony, you're on the same wavelength. Um, I it's good. You know what? You need someone around who just hates a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's Tony's job, just straight up being a hater, and also, probably breaking thumbs or noses or whatnot. Not over $1,500, Brandon. What are you, a noob? And so Brandon tries to get right, so he hits up Jeff, the high school bookie. Puts $1,500 on the Celtics to win straight up. That's a dumb bet, Brandon. Comes in, but Jeff doesn't have the money. So Brandon gets violent with Jeff, and then Jeff only gives him a little bit of the money. And then Brandon tries to pay off Duke with 1/3 what he owes him, but Nat covered him. So now, thank God for Nat, Brandon owes Nat money, which is fine. And also, Nat ain't forgetting this shit because you've done fucked up, son.
Good. I wouldn't either.
Yeah. Yep. Meanwhile, David is trying to record the shittiest song anyone's ever heard. That Serge is like, this song is a jam. And I'm like, this sounds like a toothpaste, Dad. And no one will listen. Like, no one wants to speak truth to Serge Power and tell him that this is fucking trash. And so they end up in Curtis Bray's office with a garbage tape. And Curtis Bray, awful as he is right about this song. And right about getting into the David Silver business. As far as I'm concerned, you don't want any part of this. It's bad news. Kick him back a couple years later. Maybe he can do like an image change a la Alanis Morissette. Fucking some Dave Coulier blowjob songs out there. Like, just get it going, David. But right now, this is no good. So Curtis is out of the David Silver business, but Steve is back in. And Andrea can't think of a single decent issue of the Blaze that they've created this year to submit for awards, despite a shocking number of ridiculous things happening this year that were just not covered by the paper, and we're going to have to get into that. But her brilliant idea is, let me interview Dylan for this month's senior profile. And Dylan's like, pass. But maybe I'll write my life story and you can be my editor, fellow teenager. And Kelly is done fucking around. She's just going to take a lot of diet pills, like 6 this episode or something. And look real smug when she does it, like, I fucking love these diet pills. I love them.
Bacon.
Tastes like self-control. You know what I saw? Speaking of self-control, we saw. I don't know. I probably mentioned this to you, but I don't know if I did it on the pod. We were doing a little rewatch of Parks and Rec at my mom's, and I'd forgotten how much I love the flu episode.
I know.
Especially, and this is where like this maybe hits a little too close to home for you, but goddamn, I laughed hard when Rob Lowe is staring in the mirror and he says, "Stop pooping."
Yeah.
It made me laugh so hard.
There's a reason that's my least favorite joke of the episode, but he makes it delightful.
Oh my God, his delivery is so strong.
I love when he's on the floor and he's like, the floor is my friend. I love the flu episodes.
I'm a big fan of, Leslie, I typed all of your symptoms in and you might have network connectivity error.
Oh, something was bumping. Was that me or you?
It might have been me. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Either way, but yeah, I love Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I do too. So stop pooping. That's Kelly with these diet pills. Makes me fucking happy.
I mean, I'm imagining blood coming out of both ends. That's what I'm.
I've watched this show so many times. I've never once imagined Kelly Taylor bleeding out the ass. I just never have. It's never come up.
You're welcome. See?
Yeah.
I know this is why you wanted me to do this with you, because you were like, she's going to add some insane perspectives.
I need, I need a different view on everything going on here. And straight up anal leakage was like apparently what we needed.
That's why the pills are red. They're blood.
Stop bleeding.
Oh, God. I'm laughing because I'm horrified.
I'm laughing because it's funny, but Jesus Christ, Kelly's
That too,
asshole just bleeding.
It really did. I mean, we'll get to it in Nostalgia Corner, unfortunately. That's not where I was going!
I'm broken!
Well, I just gave everyone the wrong idea. Oh my God. I'm horrified.
There's just no way your actual Nostalgia Corner can be as funny as that.
No, it's not. Shit. It's not. Oh my God.
Oh, we'll talk more about anal bleeding when we get to my Nostalgia Corner.
Not what I meant, damn it.
Oh,
that was
no,
great.
but I don't care what you meant. That's what I felt.
You just got an impression of what it was like to be friends with me in high school, because I would make inappropriate comments all the time, and people were like, do you know what that means?
That wasn't inappropriate. That was perfect.
But misleading.
I hope not. I hope that wasn't misleading. I hope that story's going exactly where it went in my head.
That's terrible. No. Wow, Jeff. You would wish that on me? Your favorite cousin?
No, I just want the story. I just want to have that story. That's all. I don't want you to have gone through the misery and the suffering of bleeding out your asshole. But what I want is for you to be nostalgic for the moment it happened.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Oh, fuck.
Boy.
My brain. Okay. Wow. Okay, here we are.
What is this episode about?
Yeah, what is this episode really about? What do you got? I got a few things.
I have a few things, too.
All right.
One of the first things I thought about is how you need to trust people willing to help you when they're offering help and you don't need it yet. Like, you need, it's something we all struggle with. Like, how often are we telling people, like, you can talk to me if you ever need to, and like all of that, and then people just don't take you up on it. One, because it's hard to get over that hurdle.
Yeah.
But again, it's like learning or building any muscle. You have to take steps. You have to trust. And Brandon was on some, no, I got this the whole time. Like, he wanted to be an island, and as we all know, no one is an island. Like, have your people around you. Well, okay.
He was a rock. He was an island. But anyway, go ahead.
No, so that's my first one, that, you know, people have to learn to trust those willing to help them. Like, Dylan has to learn to trust Andrea. And David's got to learn to trust himself, but maybe also his friends, you know, that also don't feel comfortable speaking up to adults. Like, that made sense to me. The power dynamics laid out, and also, like, it makes sense, you know, as kids, but like adult performers have this same problem of feeling like, I can't tell my producer the truth, or director, whoever, like, I don't really like what you're doing here, but you're giving me work, you're giving me a chance, so, and you know, if someone can't handle hearing, I don't care for it this way, then you probably don't want to work with them anyway. But
well, and we see that not speaking up doesn't help either.
You just dig yourself into a bigger hole.
Yeah. So it's interesting that your take on it was about taking the help that's offered, you know, when people are, because you're right, people are offering help all the time in this episode. They're not super great at it.
No.
You know, Andrea's offering help, Kelly's offering sex. or whatever kind of help she can provide. Brenda's offering pie, not that kind of pie. Calm down. Um, Cindy's offering home cooked meals. Steve offered to help Brandon. I mean, not enough because it's the end of the month and, I'm kind of tapped. But I looked at this as people taking the wrong port in every storm. Brandon, instead of going to Steve or Dylan, who has millions and millions of dollars and will gladly give you 1,500, or Jim, which I get, but also it's an option. Brandon goes to Jeff the bookie. It's a bad plan. It's the wrong place to go to solve this problem, Brandon. And as we see, Nat is the place to go. Like,
Yeah.
you could have asked Nat, and Nat would have helped you. He would have taught you a lesson. He would have, said, this is not a gift. You fucking owe me. You pay me back. You fucked up here, Junior.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what Brandon didn't want to hear, but that would have been a better port than fucking Jeff with his Las Vegas odds. Donna sees that David is having a problem in the studio. They're forcing him to record Precious, which sucks. That song's terrible. There's no way you can produce that into being good. Serge is right about that.
No debate.
Yeah, it's awful. Plus, switch it up. Fucking ends gang violence and racism, you guys. And here we are singing Precious. Misguided motherfuckers.
This is why we're where we are. What?
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, there's a lot of suspect choices made along the history of the world that led us to this moment, and one of them is recording Precious.
Yes.
It sets you off on two paths diverged in the wood, and I took the shittier one, is really what happened. But who does Donna go to when she sees this problem?
Steve.
She fucking goes to Steve. Steve can't help anything. He's a high school student.
Yeah.
And we've seen he's bad at this. Always bad at this. But sure, go to him. This is a problem only Steve can solve. Fucking Serge. Listening to Serge at all is a terrible idea. This guy and none of these kids will speak up. But they're listening to him. They're like, well, he must know what he's talking about. No, he doesn't. He doesn't know anything. Wrong port in this storm. Dylan trying to find comfort in Kelly at all, which he's really kind of not doing. But any attempt to get from her what he needs is not going to get there.
No.
Because Kelly is not capable at this point in her life of being helpfully empathetic.
Yeah.
She feels bad that Dylan feels bad and wants him to feel better. But she's only how can I cheer you up?
Oh my God, I know.
That's all she's got. She's got one play and it's called, I got these titties.
Yeah.
And Dylan's like, Kel, can I just take a nap? Maybe. I don't want to, you're very cute. And Steve's right. You're very sexy in bed, but I just can't with this right now. And I'm not sure that Andrea is the right port in the storm for Dylan. It's a better choice than Kelly. But what I need is I need a high schooler to edit my work instead of the same way David goes to a high schooler to manage his music career. It's like these people don't know anyone who can be helpful.
Yeah.
And to be honest, going to Casa Walsh as a port in the storm it's weird.
Yeah.
Look,
it was great how she could put everything aside last week for the funeral. Now I'm like, okay, you're compartmentalizing some stuff. Let us not forget what they put you through. Let us not forget you all hurt each other. Again, let's put those boundaries back in place. Be like, hey, I'm here for you. You need your friends. Maybe don't keep inviting him over, though.
I don't think it's ever going to stop. Like
No.
habitual line stepper, all three of them. Like they're just and this dinner is so weird because the only person acting like it's weird at all is Kelly.
Yeah.
And she's not even acting like it's weird for the right reasons. She's acting
No.
like it's weird because there's pie
There's
and
food.
I can't eat food. What's wrong with you people? Stop me from eating food. Um like she's a little like she does say, Brenda, this is not appropriate at some point to Dylan, but it is a weak protest. And everybody else is just like back to normal.
Yeah.
And I don't buy it. Um but I do think that's interesting. Like, yeah, this episode is about people not getting the right kind of help,
Yeah.
and I looked at it as a personal failing on all of their parts, and you looked at it as they're just not there yet. So good
We
for
had a
you.
weirdly upbeat week. Don't get used to it.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I also thought like this episode made me think about how you have to be like a private investigator with your kids because they're not going to tell
Mm.
you shit.
Yeah.
And teenage me would be screaming right now, like, don't tell the adults they need to be investigating us. But it's like, you kind of need to if you're going to find out anything. Like, if you have an inkling, and again, I'm not giving advice here because I have no stake in the game, but like, Jim clearly had an inkling that something was up with Brandon. It would have been within reason for Jim to be like, okay, we need to have a serious discussion because something is clearly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't know what you do with that. You can't force a kid to talk if they're not going to talk, but like I just feel like he didn't do anything other than other than like try to start the conversation and maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's all you can do, but again, it just feels like the adults around Brandon who saw glimmers of what was coming, all they did was go, I'm a little worried. And, if you need to talk to me, like, or also maybe don't do this, they didn't do anything more. And
Right.
he's a kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to make the right choice. He
Yeah.
wants to show you that he's an adult and can
Mm-hmm.
do this or doesn't need you. Like, it just feels like he should have been guided more. Also, I feel like, why does Brandon get two father figures?
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't need it. Jim has questionable parenting,
Mm-hmm.
but compared to maybe TV dads of the time, I feel like you would still say he's a good dad. He's not hurting him,
Mm-hmm.
emotionally or physically. Like, he's taking care, he's there. Rhyme. Um, what a disservice to Jim for Brandon to be like, I don't know who would be worse to tell, Duke or my dad. The one who threatened your life, idiot.
Yeah. I mean, I get it though. He doesn't want to get in trouble. Like that part I understand from Brandon's standpoint. And it's interesting what you were saying there because it gave me a thought of another thing that this episode might really have been about. And it's uh it's missed signals.
Uh-huh.
Like people have been missing the Kelly's not eating signals for months. I mean, I have for years. You called it out, but I've been missing them all along, and no one in the show has been calling this stuff out. People have been seeing that Brandon is gambling a lot, but they've missed the importance of it. And the biggest, like, I don't know how you walk out of that conversation with Brandon if you're Jim and not go, well, he's a gambling addict. Like, there's only
Same with
one
Nat.
possible. Right. Yes. But Nat does come away with it. Nat is like, oh, you're fucked. Like, I get it. That's why he paid off Duke. He knew already.
But I
Like,
feel like it should have ended again in strong arming Brandon into, hey, remember AA? Guess what? They have one for gambling, and you're going.
Right. Well, yeah, you drove drunk once, so you're an alcoholic. You gambled once, you're a gambling addict. This is how this works. Aren't we clear?
But okay, the gambling addiction seems more clear than the alcohol addiction. That was
Of course.
one case of alcohol abuse.
Right. Yeah, no, but they're missing all the signals. And David is missing the I need to speak up signal from Serge. Like the whole time. And Donna misses it and Steve misses it. Like they're red, big, shiny lights going off all over the place here, and they're all ignoring them. No one is seeing these things. Or seeing them and giving them the right meaning.
I'm going to go with that one more, because Donna is seeing that Kelly isn't eating. She's like the one person who will comment on it. And I mean, she doesn't know what to do with it. She tries to do the thing which helpful friends do at the time, which is reassure your friend, oh my God, you're crazy. Like, you don't need to lose weight. Why are you doing this? And, she looks worried, but I'm going to make a guess in 93. I mean, when I was growing up, and they wouldn't really talk about this much in health class. They certainly didn't give you tools for like how to approach people, or like who to go to for help. So I'm guessing in 93, they definitely didn't have the language around what to do. And in LA, eating disorders are going to be seen as de rigueur.
I mean, so by early 93, which is when this is, like, we knew about the diet pill fad. Like, there's a reason that this storyline is here. It's of the time, right? Like, the diet pill thing was bad. People were like, these are no big deal, but they really are pretty harmful. And people were starting to be aware of that. There was also more of an awareness of like eating disorders, because we had seen Karen Carpenter.
Yeah.
Like, this was a thing that and I don't even know. Let me see. I'm going to do a Google real quick. Oh yeah, because she died in the early 80s. But so by 93, like, we all knew that, like, this is a sickness, and it can lead to just horrible ends. And then you can look back at the Carpenters' videos and see like what an amazing singer she was, and like low key what a fantastic drummer she was. Like, Karen Carpenter was like an underrated drummer, but you also see just how sick she looks.
Yeah.
So like by 93, we know these things are real. They're not like, and they are probably soap opera tropes. These have probably been happening in daytime.
Well,
this whole time.
I think that's what I mean too, is like, I know people had knowledge of them, because you do see an influx of TV episodes about one character with an eating disorder.
Right. Do you remember when Jesse took caffeine pills?
See, that's the only thing I know about that show. Is that why she took it, to stay skinny?
I don't remember. I don't care. I wasn't the same Bell person, but that meltdown, that caffeine pill meltdown scene is hysterical. It's insane. Anyway, sorry. I didn't intend to talk about it. It's
okay. But
let's talk about anal bleeding some more.
No, I know this is tough subject matter, but it's true. Like, we still don't have great language about how to help people and the study of eating disorders. I mean, not to throw anyone under the bus, but like, there are definitely still older women in my life who would look at an eating disorder and be like, well, everyone does that.
Right.
And it's like, no, that's not okay. Oh boy. Or like, yeah, there's not been a lot of handling around that. I won't go down that rabbit hole.
I mean, in 2001, even Zoolander thought that being bulimic meant that you could read minds.
Oh my God.
So,
well, and I've said here, like, my theater friends and I, because I didn't realize until later after my Crohn's diagnosis that they thought I was bulimic. Like, we would make jokes about that because, again, you're teens. What do you know? And then I realized, oh, they're making jokes because that's their way of being like, are you okay?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And you're like, everybody does that. It's a great way to lose weight.
And then I said, no, actually, I'm sick and I've been sick. So, and not just sick and like sick, like actual sick.
Thick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it is I mean, again, there's a reason why it's a storyline in this show, because it's of the time and it's a thing that people didn't have language around. And so this is an attempt to put like a face to that issue, and fucking give it to poor Kelly, who
And
doesn't know what to do if she's not her body.
it's definitely it's the only time I have seen TV take the eating disorder storyline and, no pun intended, but in a way, yes, give us little crumbs across
Yeah.
the episodes, because more often than not, they're doing it in 30 minutes and it's like they've starved themselves for one day, they pass out, people notice, and then they're like, you have to stop. What drugs, Denny?
Right.
And it's not that. Like, you're not completely starving. You're like weaning yourself off. You are
Mm-hmm.
teaching your body to treat food like a drug and be less
Right.
dependent on it.
Right. I'm reminded of one of the after school specials that maybe T went up for. It's some fucking after school special. Jenny eats something. I don't know. Yeah, in Swingers, that was the name of the movie he gave as like when he auditioned for the role of brother.
Oh God.
And they were bawling, crying their eyes out. I mean, from things they had going on, but also from what I was doing.
Oh my God.
That scene is so funny. Okay. Let me ask you this very important question. If you were to call Dylan and get his answering machine, would you rather hear "You know what to do" or "After the beeparoonie"?
You know what to do.
Okay. I don't know. Beeparoonie is does have a certain charm.
You knew what I was gonna say. I'm the less fun one. Like,
That's fair.
even though I have a delightful voicemail.
I don't know. I don't ever leave people voicemail messages anymore, so who knows?
Ah, you're one of those. That's fine.
Well, because here's the thing: 99% of the time, if I call somebody, it's not important. Like, it's just a nonsense I wanted to tell somebody, so I don't bother leaving a voicemail. And you'll see that I called. You'll call me back if you feel like it. It's fine. Or or I'll text you. That's what I'll do.
I know. That's fair.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't ever get to people's outgoing voicemail message anymore. So,
You're missing out.
it's an art form. I think it's a dying art form. The outgoing voicemail message.
Yeah. Speak.
Or the when George Costanza used the Greatest American Hero theme song. Believe it or not, George isn't at home. See, that's from a bygone era. It makes me sad that we've lost.
I know that one from my dad.
Well, good. Your dad's teaching you the right stuff. What else this episode might really be about?
Someone at one point, it might have been Steve, said, well, people are going to do what they want to do. And I thought, I think in this episode especially, people do what they feel compelled to do, not necessarily what they want. Like, Brandon feels compelled to get himself out of this by digging himself a deeper hole.
Yep.
Kelly feels compelled to resort to diet pills because, she, just cutting back on eating isn't doing it.
She gained 2 pounds yesterday and she didn't eat anything.
Yes, it's called your body is trying to feed itself on what little you have to feed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then David feels compelled to not say anything because he's new to this business.
Mm-hmm.
He just knows he wants to make music. That's all he knows. He knows the technology that's needed for it. He knows, he kind of knows how to sing. but he doesn't know how to speak up for himself, and he might not even really know his brand, which you wouldn't have had brand as the language back then, but he doesn't really know what he wants to put out there other than hip
Mhm.
hop. It's like, well, you got
Right.
to go further than that, buddy. Like, what kind of hip hop? And also, like, you're going to be the only white guy. So, at least I'm thinking at the time, was Eminem big yet?
No, Eminem didn't exist, but Vanilla Ice and the Beastie Boys are out there.
I
So
feel
there were
compelled.
people out there, but yeah, David was going to get painted with the Vanilla Ice brush like that. I mean, he had the
Ugh.
hair. He did like silly dancing moves with his rapping. He was going to get. Yeah, he
I
was going
can't
to.
even do that thing that he doesn't, that I keep seeing in the GIF. Oh, I did it.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I'm a
Um,
professional.
I cracked my neck doing that shit. I don't know how David did it more than once. It's
Youth.
bad news. Yeah, no shit. All right. I think one of the things this episode might really have been about is something that the Tribe Called Quest once said, which is industry rule number 4080: record company people are shady.
Oh.
And it's bigger than that because I want to know, what do you think is the shadiest industry? Gambling, over the counter diet medicine, or the music industry? Because everyone in this episode is involved in a shady business.
I'm going to say the music industry
And
because,
by the industry, you mean the business?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like any arts industry wants to sell you on, we're nice, we get along, we believe in you. But I believe it was Pink who said, all you have to change is everything you are in her
Right.
song. Like,
Yeah.
so these people don't really want you, they want to mold you, which
Mm-hmm.
is something I like backed away from early on because even in like the BFA programs, part of how you get picked is they're making sure they have every single stock character. Like,
Sure.
do we have the ingenue? Oh, we already have one. So could she be the best friend? Could she be the old hag, slut, town whore, whatever? No. Like they have these blocks they want to fill, and if you don't fill it, then you don't get picked. Or if they can't mold you to it, then you know everyone in the industry wants someone moldable. With
Mm-hmm.
gambling and diet pills, I feel like, yes, they're putting out a nice sheen, but they're also, I feel like you figure it out pretty quickly. But again, I'm coming from knowing one industry in the three.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I've not done a lot of diet pills. It's not been my move. Um,
Just do crack.
and I haven't. That's a good idea. No, that's a good idea. They're going to lessen sentencing on that soon, I hope. Um, crack. Look, Bobby Brown isn't right about a lot of things, but he and Whitney Houston were right. Crack is whack. Edict. Crack is whack. Um, yeah, they're all neck deep in some shit that it's better to stay away. Um,
Yeah.
but all three industries are selling a version of reality that's not there. All right, let me ask you this question: is pool worse than we thought? Because
No.
just the thought of it, like, you don't even have to go play pool for it to be bad. All you have to do is mention it, and suddenly you're $1,500 in the hole to a bookie who knows a guy who will break your everything. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
I don't like that for pool, though. I love playing pool.
I do too, but I mean, here we are again. Anything else this episode might really have been about?
They're all trying to do way too much before graduation. My God. Like, I
Okay, how
I
about let's join
purposefully
PP?
I purposefully made my senior year easier, and I
Yeah.
kind of regret it now because I too definitely should have taken AP English.
Mm,
The only reason I didn't was because I wanted to devote more time and energy to theater, and I'm not going to say that was a bust, but AP English, I mean, I basically have done my own version of AP English outside of school. I should have just done it in school.
Mm-hmm. Byron the Collected
Um,
Works.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's good. I mean, so you and Dylan, same
I
thing.
mean, why do you think I get so annoyed with him?
Yeah. Oh shit! This is something that I forgot to talk about. Uh, this is bad. Um, what the fuck's going on at the Blaze this year? You don't have a single issue that you
I
can
know.
submit for awards because you're like every school newspaper in the country did the same stories we did twice. Let me tell you what that means. These are all the stories that the Blaze could have done this year that no other high school in the country had access to. A legacy key situation on par with the Billionaire Boys Club. Drag racing, where a student gets run over. You could have written that one from the first person. How about a junior landing a recording contract? That's newsworthy. I mean, it's LA,
Mm-hmm.
so there's lots of kid actors and whatnot, but I mean, that's a fucking story. How about, I don't know, one of your seniors' parents gets blown up in a mob hit, couple column inches. That feels like A1 above the fold to me. I don't know. I'm not Ben Bradley, but fucking come on.
Yeah.
Um, how about that time everyone almost died at Christmas, but a bus turned invisible and drove through them?
Yeah.
Like that's that's at least something for the metro section. Come on. Um, how about the homeless vet problem in the United States? You could have done an expose on this,
Yeah.
and like how they have tarp access and can like cover a roof. Like it's something. How about one of the teachers being accused of sexual misconduct with one of the students who it turns out was being abused by her uncle?
Oh, they
What
wouldn't
about
allow
that
that.
as a story? But you could talk about the themes. I don't know, but it's a story. Or what about that time that the tabloid news show parked their van across the street and tried to do a hit piece on your senior class?
There was an election.
There, you, but everybody was doing that. Like everybody covered the
Oh,
election.
fair. Okay, never mind. Never mind. You're right.
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different crazy ass fucking things that happened this year on top of David Silver writes a rap song that ends racism and gang violence. And you don't have a single issue worth submitting? Asleep at the switch. What is happening in the Blaze? This is criminal negligence.
She was, in her defense, she was hopped up on, pain pills. Might have been a little difficult
Yeah.
to edit a paper. And Brandon
And
is useless.
well, Brandon's position seems to be don't write any stories that our friends are involved in, which takes all these off the board. I mean, if you're just going to protect this group of assholes, um, and not for nothing, but in a few weeks, Andrea is going to have a fucking story to write about that could win them all the awards.
Oh no.
And this year isn't over.
I
Did you
know
think
it's
this year was
not.
over?
Oh.
Just because they're getting ready to graduate doesn't mean that we're done with crazy ass bullshit.
Oh, I'm
Um,
tired.
no, we still have 8 episodes to go. There is some shit coming down the pike, and it is newsworthy. Look, if the Blaze doesn't have something to submit, I'm gonna blame the co-editors in chief.
That's fine.
Because Andrea is right. Gil called it his first day. He's like, "This is some bush league shit you guys are doing here. Look at Remember last year, Brandon saved 2 lives. Did you write one story about either of those things? I guess not. So this paper is some bullshit. Is I think where we're at.
Wow.
Yep.
Bill Myers isn't motivating them because he's been trying to cover for his ass.
Well, he did shave the beard, so he's completely incognito now. Never
Yeah.
recognized that guy. If he got a haircut, forget about it. All right, I'm going to ask you a question that I know the answer to already.
Okay.
But it would have been better if Nat let Duke beat Brandon's ass before paying him, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, this is another situation where there was almost a consequence.
Yeah.
And never mind, Nat paid it. You just got to pay him back.
Just scare him a little, you know?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, just a couple body shots. Like, like wrap the soap in a wet towel and just go to the body because it doesn't bruise as much. That's what I hear from. That's right. Brandon needed to get punched a little bit in this episode because he literally almost beat up poor Jeff. And although what Jeff is doing,
He needed to get bitch slapped and challenged to a duel, except not really, but bitch slapped for sure.
Yeah, Jeff's in over his head.
Yeah.
But good news. I don't think we ever see Jeff again. So.
Oh, good. I thought they were gonna do something there with this random bad boy character coming in, and nope, there he goes off with the football team.
But shouts to Tony Miller.
Yes,
laying $15 bets, which is like, it's awesome to me that the reason Tony Miller was in this episode is because Michael Cutlitz was working on the stage crew.
I know.
It's like,
I love that.
Hey, Mike, can you step in this episode? We just need you to place a bet with this guy. Got it. Put my jacket on.
This is why I have no problem getting jobs in other parts of the business, because I'm like, you never know. You may need me, and if not, I'm at least getting paid.
That's right. I'm here. I'm wearing my costume.
I know, right?
You need a Mary Magdalene this week?
Ready. Yeah. Almost ripped out my earbud, flipping my hair. Whoops.
Don't know how to love him. How about that?
What to do, how to move him.
Now, see, that's the problem right there, is you just being better than me at singing. Like, I mean, like, I was fucking nailing it, and then you actually can sing, and now it's like, what an asshole this guy is. That sounded garbage.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's no
But you sound fine.
All right. What did this episode make you nostalgic for? #anal bleeding.
No, it did not make me nostalgic for that. That was a red herring, literally.
Coming out your butt.
No. So as I have elicited on here, your girl might have had some body image issues growing up. Shocker. But one thing that helped me steer away from going down the Kelly rabbit hole, because I'm sorry to say it, I definitely was Kelly at some meals being like, I shouldn't even be eating this. I'm on a diet. And then people getting mad. Like, you learn very quickly not to say it around, or just you learn not as quickly, why I don't need to be saying this. But anyway, I remember seeing ads growing up. One distinctly, like, obviously for diet pills, but this one was scary to me. Like, you just see this tall, tan, lanky woman covered in beads of sweat, and there are flames around her. And they showed these red diet pills, and I thought, that looks fucked up. I don't think this ad did what they thought it was going to do.
Right.
Or I'm not as bad off as I thought I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're nostalgic for the power of diet pill advertising.
I'm nostalgic for the power of fear keeping me from going full eating disorder.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. I've joked before. It's not a great method to scare someone out of going down a wrong path, but whatever works. Whatever works.
Yeah. And this one did it. This one kept you on the straight and narrow. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I couldn't really think of anything I was nostalgic for about this, but I did know a guy in high school who took book.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, there was a guy I graduated with who was running a small bookie operation in high school. I'd never bet with him because I was like, I don't understand why anybody would do this. But not to say that I haven't bet on, I've got my FanDuel Sports app. I bet
Oh.
$3 on things. It's fine. It's fun. But oh shit, speaking of advertisements for a product, do you listen to any podcasts? You probably don't, because you don't listen to a lot of sports podcasts.
Well, not
But
sports podcasts, but
well, yeah, I mean, I stopped mid-sentence. Like, do you listen to any podcasts that are advertised and supported by sports gambling websites?
I don't. I feel like at least one of them. Oh my god, Pod Meets World always has this ad for one of these casinos, and it's crazy now that I can't remember the name of it because it's fucking annoying. Maybe that's why I blocked it out. Like, so I hear more ads for casinos than for sports
Okay.
gambling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
and I couldn't
sports
tell you
gambling
which one.
ones. The sports gambling ones are notable to me in that the ad read itself is 7 seconds. The disclaimer read at the end about if you have a gambling problem is 20 to 30 seconds long.
Yeah,
And it doesn't matter what podcast, like this is required by law.
yeah,
That they give all of this, and it's like, in Delaware, call this phone number. Gambling problem in Wisconsin, do this. Like, I mean, it's state by state information. It is too much with the disclaimers on. I mean, it's almost as bad as like the possible side effects from taking this medication that you see the ads for on CBS Sunday Morning. Like, all of them, every medication, doesn't matter. May cause death.
especially if it's for an antidepressant and they're like, may cause thoughts of suicide. Well, then what's the point?
Yeah, different thoughts of suicide. Changes them, just switches them a little bit.
It's like, oh,
Be aware, these are different.
I'm not going to the road.
Yeah.
You reminded me, and I'm gonna throw out a shameless plug. I was in the background for a Kentucky Lotto ad.
Oh, nice.
And I think that's what changed my parents' view of me in the performing arts. Like, oh look, she's getting shit.
There you go. I know somebody who works for the Kentucky Lottery.
Huh?
I know somebody who works for the Kentucky Lottery. Shouts to Edie.
I do too. Hey, Charles.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, so there we go. We know people in Big Lotto.
Oh yeah.
It hasn't helped yet. How come you guys aren't helping me win the Kentucky Lottery when I'm not playing it?
Or living there.
Right. I blame them. Okay. Who is your Steve Sanders Memorial worst person of the episode?
It's a tie between Duke and Serge because they straight up suck. One threatens the life of a child. Like, I know he's a teenage boy and everything, but like he's a child, you know. He needs to be able to make mistakes without risking his life, although I guess that's, I don't know. He sucks. Don't trust anyone who says, I like you. No, you don't. You like what you do to me. And then
Tony doesn't
Serge
like you
sucks because he's using power dynamics to get people to bend to his will and create shitty art. Like no one else in the industry.
You know what? Serge reminds me of, and this is, man, this is some narrow casting, but Serge is Kelvin Sampson.
Oh no! Oh dear! Tell me more.
There aren't too many people that I hate more than Kelvin Sampson.
Who cares about phone calls?
Fuck this guy. Yeah. But there's one specific instance. So Kelvin Sampson, former Indiana basketball coach, cheater, liar, drove the program into the toilet. But he also did this thing on, the Indiana coaches, they have in their contract where they have to do, and all coaches have this, but they have to do like radio shows, stuff like that. And radio shows take calls and they take questions and all this kind of thing. And he decided to do the radio show. And I don't know if it was him or like what they suggested, whoever. It was decided that the Kelvin Sampson version of this show was going to take place in one of the dorms, live in front of kids.
Okay.
Like a studio audience. I think now they do the coaches show in like a bar downtown in Bloomington where it's
Oh,
open to the public.
nice.
Yeah, and like you can have dinner and ask questions and watch the show. At least they have done it that way. I don't know if they're still doing it that way. Anyway, the Kelvin Sampson version of it, they would take the questions from the audience, and some kid asked a question, said, how do you think you've done closing the borders around the state of Indiana? Which is like always a thing that when they hire a coach, they say, I'm going to close the borders. People aren't going to come in here and recruit the best Indiana basketball players. We're going to get the best Indiana basketball players to come to Indiana. They're not going to go to Michigan State or Ohio State or Duke or North Carolina. They're going to stay home. It's a promise they all make. One that's to greater or lesser degree is successful. Anyway, some kid asked him how he thinks he's done this, and Sampson, instead of answering, says, "Well, how do you think I've done?"
Oh my God!
Puts this fucking kid on the spot, and the kid's like, "Oh, good, I guess." But like the reality is, he had done terribly. Like there were like 4 big name recruits, including one of the older Zeller brothers. One of them went to Notre Dame. The other one went to North Carolina. The one that went to North Carolina, Luke, is the one I think Sampson missed on. But like, if I'm the kid, I would have said, well, I thought missing out on the Zeller kid was probably not great. Like the real answer is, no, you've missed. You've not done a great job here. But the power dynamic is such that when Sampson turns it around on this kid, the kid is, all he can do is go, I guess you did okay. And this is what Serge does to David and to Donna and to Steve. Tell him how great this is. Isn't this great? Don't give him any negative feedback. Tell him this is good. I know what's going on. Like, he's totally pressuring kids to support his bullshit view of the world.
That no negativity comment is so much of what I have seen from some directors. Like, they want to have a collaborative space until you bring up something that you're uncomfortable with or don't care for or think they're not necessarily that they're doing wrong, but maybe shouldn't be doing. And then it's not a collaborative space.
Yeah. I want to hear from you as long as what you think is that I'm great.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's what this fucking is. And it sucks. So yeah, I was going to go with Brandon because he was literally just about beat the shit out of Jeff. And I am, look, I'm anti beating up Jeffs. Just am.
We know you are.
This is a position I've taken. Be nice to Jeffs. But boy, Serge fucking sucks. So
he sucks. He's cringy. The whole just smiling the whole time. It's fabulous. You suck.
Yeah, and then the second that there's someone he has to answer to, he's like throwing David right under the bus. Yeah, I mean, it's only as good as the material. I can only, can't put if you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig,
Jack Antonoff would never.
2 words, shit sandwich.
Which is what Kelly's going to be having next week.
Oh, man. Yeah. All right. So I think we did it.
We did.
All right. It did. So join us here on Friday, Cheesemeisters, when we're going to see what we're going to do? We're going to stress test Leslie, and we're going to stress test me, because I've seen this movie and I'm still stressed out about it. And it was like 3 years ago I saw this movie. We're going to watch Uncut Gems.
Stone.
Because
or just me.
I mean, it is. I can't wait until you watch this movie. Look, I really liked it, but this is the tensest I've been from start to finish watching any movie I've ever seen. It's a good movie, but I'm kind of surprised I'm watching it again, to be honest with you. That's how stressful it was.
You didn't think I would agree?
No, I never thought I would subject myself to it again.
Oh God.
Because I was so fucking tense the whole time. Like, I did. And we'll talk about it on Friday. But I walked in from seeing this movie, and Laura said, "How was it?" And I was like, "You would hate this movie. Like, you would feel so uncomfortable the entire time."
So, you mentioning that you're surprised you're watching it again is kind of how I feel about. I'm gonna because things we brought up in this episode and what I imagine is going to happen next episode reminds me so much of Requiem for a Dream. We are not
Ooh.
watching that. I am not
Okay.
rewatching that movie. It was
Okay.
horrible. Life is about to be hard enough. I'm not doing it. I will
Got it.
throw myself into a pit that I don't know or am okay with, but that is a pit, and you haven't seen it. So, like, I don't want to do that to you. I like you.
Fair. 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 Yeah. Um. Yeah. I don't think there's too much chance you're going to get neck deep in the diamond and gem industry and or betting on professional basketball. So I think that there's a good chance you slide through this one not feeling personally attacked.
Great.
But there's no chance you're not going to feel the stress because they built this movie right. Like they intended it to be tense and they nailed it. So anyway, we're going to watch Uncut Gems this week, Cheesemeisters. And next week, join us when we watch season 3, episode 24, Perfectly Perfect, where, spoilers, Kelly's birthday is in the spring. And later on, when Dave Cause shows up, her birthday's in the fall because things don't matter.
Oh no. They're gonna
Yeah.
give her cake and she's gonna lose it and throw it on the ground or like binge eat it and then vomit on over everyone and this is gonna be terrible. I'm scared.
I mean, red icing. It red every orifice. It's gonna be bad.
Different version of Carrie.
Yeah, no shit. So I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna watch next week, but we'll figure it out. But this week, Cheesemeister's Uncut Gems, which I'm kind of looking forward to because it's a really good movie. And just because it makes you tense doesn't mean you shouldn't watch it. You know. So anyway, we'll see how that one goes. I'm excited. But until then, Cheesemeisters.
Bye.
Bye.